If I'd have been sat here some 30 years ago, well, I wouldn't have been allowed to have sat here for one thing, because this was a working site. There would have been large earth movers and the ground would have been really unstable. It was an ever-changing ground. This is the former Calverton Colliery. Now look at it. Once again, the sound of chiff-chaffs has followed me. But there are some willow warblers here, and you may all catch a song of the linnet. If you were sat at the side of me, you'd be able to smell the fabulous scent from all of this gorse. It's quite magical. And when the sky is as blue as it is, it looks fabulous. Very different from 30 years ago when this was a working colliery. There wouldn't have been a bird, certainly wouldn't have heard chiff-chaff or a linnet here, and you wouldn't have seen a single flower. All that would have been here is this stuff. The old colliery spoil being moved around by bulldozers and earth movers. What a difference it is today. And I never worked down the mines. We don't have any left operating still in Nottinghamshire, and that's, to be honest, it's a good thing. I don't think anybody should have had to have worked in such conditions, and I doubt whether they'd allow it nowadays, health and safety and all that. But not many of those people who did work down the mines are still alive to tell or recount the tales of working down the mines today. It shortened people's lives, shortened them considerably too. And now we're left with this. Isn't it terrible? Calverton Colliery is one of the least spoilt pit tops that we have in Nottinghamshire. It's never really been touched that much. There's been some planting at the top of the hill behind me, but the rest of it is pretty much reformed from how it was left when the last of the colliers left and walked out of here. If you've never been to a pit top, a former pit top, I'd urge you to go. It's a landscape that I think will eventually vanish and people won't realise what it was like. They may not always look the most attractive, but they are fabulous places for wildlife. You never know what's going to turn up. And I think that many an opportunity has been missed by people not studying the wildlife of a recently closed colliery and going through the year following year and following year after that. Watching species move in, colonise and be driven out by something else, or driven out by the change in the ground flora. This is a great gorse-filled colliery. The old Thorsby pit top overlooking Sherwood Forest. That's another cracker, with one bank as yellow as this is behind me. It's the gorse that makes it. They can be beautiful places. Some have been developed. If you want to see one that's been brilliantly developed, try Plesley Colliery, or the old Plesley pit top. Another good one is Shirebrook Colliery. That's another really good pit top. Part of it lies in Nottinghamshire, and that's been really well developed. And then go to Gedling Country Park and see what they've done there. You might think it's beautiful, but it was better before they ever touched it. Far better. When they eventually touch this, they'll just ruin it. On a day like today, it's a smashing place to be. much of the ground on a former colliery site, if it's never been touched or covered with topsoil, will be like this. It'll be very dry, gets a bit claggy when it has a lot of rain on it, but it's very stony, very grey soil, all dug up, of course, with little flecks of coal or bits of slack in it, as we used to call it. But it's a great habitat like this. Bare stony ground, at least in Nottinghamshire, isn't all that common at all. You get areas of it in some of the quarries along the Trent Valley and a few little spots in the Sherwood Forest area. The closing of the collieries in Nottinghamshire and throughout the UK gave the opportunity for habitat like this to form. Unfortunately, most councils didn't see the opportunity in terms of nature and attracting species in. What an opportunity they all missed. It really was a golden opportunity, and say unfortunately it's gone now. There are few areas like this. All have been developed, topped with topsoil and planted with tens of thousands of young whips, many of which don't survive. If only there'd been a little bit of thinking. Someone in a position of higher authority said, I know what we could do with this site. We could create a fabulous area for wildlife. Unfortunately, most of the powers that be think that a fabulous area of wildlife is lots of grass with a few flowers and loads of trees and maybe a pond. And they think that they have to create all that. Well, they don't. Mother Nature is quite capable of creating fabulous habitat, and that's exactly what she's done with this particular site here at Calverton. One of the main reasons for me calling in at Calverton here is that this is a really good place in Nottinghamshire for green hair streak, and this is one particular site where I found green hair streak before. It's still a little bit early yet. I know people have seen green hair streaks, and when one's seen in the UK, everybody thinks that they should all be seeing them, but with any butterfly that emerges or moth, there's always one or two that like to sneak out particularly early, and we're nowhere near the main emergence of many of the spring butterflies yet. I've not seen that many orange tips, or green veined whites, or small whites, or large whites. They will come over the next few weeks. We try and wish everything to be out as quick as possible so we can see it. Sometimes we need a little bit of patience. I think I might need some patience today looking for a green hair streak. It's a fabulous little butterfly, and there's got a couple of places locally to me that I can go and look for it. I just don't think it's out yet. Although the gorse is out and smelling absolutely beautiful as I stand here, the rest of the vegetation, the birdsfoot trefoil and the like, and clovers and all the vegetation on the ground, is still only really just starting to get going. We've got a while to wait yet. One of the best things you can do if you do happen to visit any old pit top site and you've got an area like this, a south facing bank, is to sit and just watch for things to turn up. Two interesting spiders that you can often get are Micaria pudicaria and Micaria micans. Micans is considerably rarer, and I think it was last year that Nick and Samantha Brownlee found micans here. Very ant-like Micaria spiders, very fast, very agile too, and difficult to catch, but they can be identified using good quality photographs on a hand lens. Often get lots of bugs at ground level too, but you never know exactly what you're going to find. Anything can turn up on pit tops. We should be having some rarer myriapods, centipedes and millipedes to most people. South Wales has had some cracking species on their former colliery sites. Not much has showed up on those in Nottinghamshire, but I persist. But sparsely vegetated ground like this is always worth 5 minutes of any visit. That's not a bad view, is that? At least by my standards. Absolutely wonderful. Framed, of course, by the wonderful gorse flowers. Gorse is very successful on here. Some people would say, well, it's too successful, but at the moment I don't think it is. There's no maintenance on this side at all. I like it like that. But it's a terrific legacy to leave, or for an industry like coal mining to leave behind. When you think of how these colliery tips used to be, grey, horrible, depressing places. Now you look at them full of life, full of flower, full of sound and full of colour. At least this one is. A nice place to come to on a day like today.